day.
Mm-hmm.
How many people?
We're live. Go for it.
How many people listen?
A lot. Sorry, guys. What's up? We're talking about how many people watch this, and we wish that the whole world watched our live streams because we do really good work. I'm Will Witt. As you guys know, we got Amla here. Amla's working the tech side today.
Yes, I am.
So, PragerU.com/donate so we can get more people to work the tech side without Amla having to go in there. And we also have a very special guest who I don't think has been on this program before, but you guys might recognize her from other things at PragerU. She's the CEO of PragerU, Marissa Streit.
Woo!
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's my first time. I'm excited.
Yeah. So as a CEO of PragerU, that's a lot of responsibility. You have been having to manage me for the last 4 years.
Unbelievably hard. The
I
hardest
know.
part of my job.
That really is the hardest part of the job, and I will let you
believe that
know.
for sure. I can't be managed. But tell us a little bit about where you come from, your background, especially, with the stuff going on right now in Israel. You have a lot of insight into that. Can you go and explain that?
Sure. So where I'm from, I was born in the States, so I'm an American. When I was 7 years old, my mom took me to Israel. She basically kidnapped me and figured out that raising me in Israel will turn me into a little dragon, which in some ways I guess I am. I lived in Israel from age 7 through 20. I served in the Israeli military. When I was 16 years old, I got this brown envelope in the mail, summoned for testing at Israeli intelligence. And I went into this giant room with a bunch of other kids. The room got smaller and smaller and smaller. Eventually, they figured out what to do with me. On my 18th birthday, I joined Israeli Intelligence 8200 and got a gift. It was really an incredible gift because they trained me on some of the most amazing things I learned how to do. And that gift I was able to take back with me when I came back to the United States. And now I've built this company alongside with Dennis Prager and Alan Estrin. We started 10 years ago, so this is our 10-year anniversary. And we started with 0 employees. It was just me, a general without an army. Later on, we hired you, and fast forward 10 years later, we have now 70 employees.
I know. I've been at PragerU, if you guys don't know, I've been at PragerU for about 4 years now, a little bit less than 4 years now. It's been the biggest blessing to see this company continue to grow and do amazing things, and a lot of that is because of Marissa's leadership. She's been a phenomenal, strong force, pushing conservative values and everything that we stand for at PragerU across the nation. I mean, hitting 5 billion views is quite the feat. It's truly an incredible thing. How does that make you feel starting in and now having that?
The favorite compliment I ever got from an employee here was that they call me their push buddy. And so I know you can all relate to that, where I try to push you to your max and say, I know you don't see that ability of yours, but I see it, and so I'm going to push you harder. And at certain points, I'm sure you are very upset with me and you resent me for.
So I'm never upset with you.
Yeah. or the wall of no's that you get sometimes. But ultimately, that is, I feel like the greatest gift you can give to somebody that works for you is not necessarily their paycheck, but their ability to grow professionally. And just as a person. And so we believe in the content that we make that helps people grow intellectually, but especially the people that come here, we want to see them really grow into their fullest potential. And so that makes me, in some ways, a conductor of this organization, and you're all push buddies.
Which is something unique, because I think that, especially with the culture right now, I mean, we're hearing all this about people don't take personal responsibility and they have to be told everything what to do and they feel entitled. But like, just my personal experience, I'm sure Amla, Taylor here feel the same way, that it's like you give us a lot of freedom, that it's like if we have a new idea, like this live stream that we just started doing, like throw ideas against the wall until something sticks and then you do it. And then we have the freedom to continue to make new things, which I think has been like the best part of working here at PragerU. But we'll get into the actual substance of today, okay? But we just had some good questions to ask Marissa first. But I want to start off with the whole stuff going on with Israel right now, Hamas. I made a video yesterday where it was basically kind of like a sketch comedy thing. I sent it to you. And it was like, Hamas continually throws things at Israel. Israel finally retaliates. And then the media says, Israel, why are you always harassing Hamas or harassing Palestine, right? And so I got a lot of love from that video because it's true. But then I also got a lot of pushback of people talking about how this isn't true. Israel has been really attacking them for years and years. They're doing an ethnic cleansing. They're clearing people out of their homes. What is your response to that? As someone who is, in the IDF and lived in Israel, what is your response when you hear these people say these types of things?
Well, first of all, we're living in an era where lies seem to be percolating to the top, and they're almost unstoppable. And so we've just lived through over a year of just a mass amount of lies. And so if there's anything that the audience should have learned is that when you're hearing things on social media, it's not always the truth. It's usually not the truth. And so, yes, I served in the Israeli military and I lived in Israel. And maybe some people will say that I'm biased because I'm saying, I have a pro-Israel perspective. But the truth is I have a pro-truth perspective. And I think that at the end of the day, if you want the best for any country or any nation, you got to put the truth first. And the truth is that Israel, and we have actually a video with Alan Dershowitz on this, Israel was founded legally. It did not rob, the Israelis did not rob the locals from their own territory. And so we don't have to go into this in details because you can look it up. And there are actually very, very few countries, maybe no country around the world that actually got a legal permission to build its country. Which country do you know of that did that? And so Israel had a legal right to exist, they didn't just show up there. Secondly, I think it's really important that the audience separates between Palestinians and Hamas. You can't blame all of Palestinians. There are a lot of Palestinians or people that identify themselves as Palestinians that don't support what Hamas is doing. And many of them are literally suffering because there is a terrorist organization that is governing them. And so you talk about fear and lies and really abuse of its own citizens. That's where you see that. And so if you're living in Gaza and you don't support what the terrorist organization that is basically leading the area, if you don't support them, you'll be killed. You'll be dead. And not only will you be killed, your whole family will be killed. And so you can't even assume that all of the people that live there even want what Hamas is doing. Most people just want to live. They just want to raise their kids and they want to live. But when you're raised in an environment full of fear, and when you're a child, you're told that people are going to come and kill you, that the Israelis are going to come and kill you, and the Israelis are going to do all these horrible things to you, then it's no wonder why there is systematic hate over there. They don't want peace. They're chanting in their own schools, from the ocean to the sea, Palestine will be free. Well, what does that mean? No Israel whatsoever? So where did the Jews go? Where did the Jews who were giving the legal right to live there, where do they go? What do people want the folks to do? And so to respond to your little video where you had this ball of yourself getting hit with hit multiple times with, Israel has no intention to be an aggressor against the Palestinian population. What's the point? Israel never said that they're trying to get rid of them. But the other side, Hamas, it's in their charter to get rid of Israel. So it just makes sense who would start the fight, right? Why would Israel even start the fight? They don't need to start the fight. They don't want to start the fight. And you can see even there are these images, there are amazing images of the rockets where Iron Dome, which is what protects Israel from the rockets coming in from Hamas, Iron Dome stops the rockets. They don't send rockets into it. Just look at that. There's this amazing visual where you see rockets coming into Israel from the other side and then Iron Dome simply stopping them. Who's shooting the rockets over into the other area? Who started with that? It's
really important that you bring up the truth aspect because, you could see this. Even if someone hates Israel, like they hate Israel, doesn't think it have the right to exist or whatever it might be, you should still, if you're a leftist living in America, you should still condemn Hamas too. This is a terrorist organization. It's like, even if you hate Israel, you should be able to do the same thing to another violent, extremist group. I'm not saying Israel is, but you know what I mean? It's like, if these are terrorists, you should have the cognitive ability to say that these people are terrorists. And the whole thing about the ethnic cleansing and all that, it's like you have 100,000 Palestinians coming into Israel with work visas to work. You have Arabs, Christians, all sorts of different people working in Israel.
Yeah, our society is so devoid of logic and reason and actually finding the truth that a lot of people who claim to be pro-Palestinian and are supporting the Free Palestinian movement have not even looked into the history of the conflict itself in the Middle East. And they just want to virtue signal. They just want to say that they support something to be a part of a cause of which they don't understand, and they don't know how detrimental that support is.
If you're so anti-violence in the Middle East, What about Syria? Where were you when the bombs were happening in Syria? Where were, the street fights and the riots and way more people died in Syria. And so clearly, if you're only attacking the one country that actually received a legal charter to start, then something is wrong with you. Either you don't read and you're not aware of the history, or you have something skewed in your moral compass.
That's exactly right. We've seen right now in the media lots of videos. Thank God for cell phones, for people catching these things on video so that people can't get away with it. It's true. There are all these different videos. I'm going to show you guys some of these. These basically anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise all across the world. There's all these different videos. We can't play some of them with sound because then PragerU will get censored even harder. We'll have to see.
Is it even possible?
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible. I don't
right?
know. Maybe we should test our luck a little
They'll
bit.
come and
keep
yank
going.
us out of here or something.
But what you can see from like this one right here, you guys can read it. We're not going to say it. But I mean, just terrible. This is London. F the Jews are their daughters. Just horrible right here. We have a video here.
The guy's laughing.
Oh,
You guys
terrible.
laughing at
That's
that.
in Germany. A man walks up to a Jew, is minding his own business, and casually kicks him just for being Jewish.
Now, this whole year, silence is violence. How about violence is violence?
I know.
Exactly.
For real.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say this one was okay, Amala? I don't remember.
Are we
on
allowed
that.
to show it on?
Yeah.
It might be okay. I would mute it, maybe just in case.
It's kind of small.
It's okay, they're coming.
This guy walks up to Jews, spits on their flag, wipes his feet on it, and then proceeds to push and threaten them when they try to get him to stop.
Honestly, it's really scary. Super scary.
There's one in Toronto, anti-Zionism protest turns violent, and a Jew is beaten with sticks in broad daylight in Canada.
Isn't that amazing? Less than a year ago, people were saying, well, you can be anti-Zionist. It doesn't mean that you're an anti-Semite. And here you go. Within minutes of attacks on Israel, you get also attacks on Jews. Within minutes.
I know.
And this is not an isolated incident. It's not just happening in the States. It's not just happening in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank. It's happening in countries all over the world. And this anti-Semitism is just growing and growing based off of this conflict.
Well, and then you're going to see a lot of violence because now you have BLM, which is a violent group coming together with Hamas. And so imagine what kind of combination that is, BLM plus Hamas.
The combination.
Here in the streets in Los Angeles, you're seeing that violence.
The combination is going to be another Nobel Peace Prize winner. We're giving it to Hamas.
Right.
I think
Right.
this time. After they gave it to BLM,
Right.
they're going to up the ante.
Right.
Yeah, this video is from LA. This is Jews getting attacked here in Los Angeles. Wild.
It's happening everywhere.
One more.
One more
this was
here.
in Los Angeles at a...
It's really hard to watch.
It's happening all over. It's really sad to see that is the state that we are in. I mean, you would think that after years and years of this, I mean, after something like the Holocaust and, moving forward in history, that something like this would be, people would realize this is not how you're supposed to act in society.
Well, you would hope that people even know our history. That's the other problem. I mean,
Yeah.
you did the man on the street. People didn't even know what the Holocaust is. That's part of the problem. That's what the left tries to do. They make sure that you don't learn history. You only learn the footnotes in history, and so that people can get manipulated and make mistakes again.
And that's why we have PrEP. What is
Why we
PrEP,
have PrEP.
Marissa? You love PrEP.
Prep. I love prep. I love prep. Well,
It's her new favorite thing.
no, you're my favorite thing, and so
Okay.
is Amla. Amla is my new favorite thing, and you're my old
Thank
favorite
you.
thing.
Okay.
You're both my
I'm
favorite
chopped
things.
liver over here, but it's okay.
You're both. Why is the new favorite thing supposedly better than the good old favorite thing?
It's like you get something new, it's fresh, you're learning
Yeah.
about it,
Oh, I love
like
you
a
both.
girl or something.
But I do love prep. Well,
know you
because
do.
prep brings the mama bear out of me, and mama bear gets very upset when you attack her children. And
Mm-hmm.
so prep is our new program here at PragerU. It's preparing kids, but it's also called PragerU Resources for
And
educators
did you
and
know
parents.
he was California?
Sorry,
Thanks
keep
for
going.
that.
Sorry.
Is that okay? That's how you punish me for telling you that you're an old favorite
Yeah,
thing?
you're my old favorite too, Marissa.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh my
I have a lot of new favorites.
Prep. So we all know that much of what we're seeing today is because of the brainwashing that has been going on with our kids. And so we started PragerU. PragerU is called PragerU as in Prager University because the problems used to be just in the university, or at least they weren't as bad. But now they're starting, the left-wing indoctrination starts in kindergarten. Truly, truly. They use these kids as political ropes, essentially, turning them into activists. And so we decided to step into this and actually support parents and educators in equipping people to better educate our children. So we're making animated shows like Leo and Layla. You can show it now.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show it now?
Yeah.
You can show it now, Leo and Layla. This is Leo. Leo and Layla, they travel through time.
Hey, Mr. Reagan, can I ask you some questions?
Of course you can, Leo.
Why did they build the Berlin Wall in Germany?
That's a good question. We're in West Berlin, which is the free side of Germany. On the other side of the wall is East Berlin, which is occupied by the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, which is communist, built this wall during the Cold War to keep people locked in East Berlin and stop them from going to freedom in West Berlin.
We sure are lucky to be on this side.
You're right about that, Leo.
Can you imagine if Nickelodeon created an animated show about communism and Ronald Reagan, and people would just go bonkers?
I think they would. But like I watched this myself and I learned something.
I knew it.
You knew
It
it?
was made for you.
I thought you would have a little bit more faith in my intellect, Marissa. But it's like at an adult age, I think even people hearing this about like East versus West Berlin, people don't even know what East versus West Berlin is. They don't know that thousands of East Berliners had to travel across, go to Hungary, and then come back up to live in West Berlin. They were divided from their families. They have no idea what communism is. They have no idea how the West saved Germany and all this. It's absolutely wild. I mean, at my age, when I was like, I don't know, this is like 3rd to 8th grade?
3rd through 5th grade.
3rd through 5th grade. I mean, I knew nothing about politics. I knew nothing about history. But I did know that the earth was heating up and we were probably going to die.
Yeah.
And that Obama was pretty cool.
Well, I don't blame people for not knowing these things. It's
Right.
really not their fault.
Right.
It's our fault for not teaching it to them, right? And it's like folks your age, we can't expect you guys to know these things if adults don't show up and teach it to you. And so we're just taking responsibility to finally educate.
I wish that someone would have given me this when I was a kid.
Well, basically everything we make here is because I wish I had it. And it's like, the selfish side of capitalism. But it's like, when we did the book club show, I said, well, I wish I read every book that have shaped Western civilization. Let's get the genius Michael Knowles to just summarize it for me so I know what I need to know. And then we're doing the same thing. I mean, I wish I had a way to teach my kids about why America is the greatest country on earth.
Right.
And some of these important lessons that they need to know. I want to inoculate them so when they go into high school, college, into life, they're well equipped. And so you can't well equip kids if you don't teach them history and values.
It's very true. It's something that I really didn't quite think about until I came onto the conservative side, that if I had had a resource like PrEP, if I had had true education as to the history of America, why it's important that we support its foundation and its tradition, I would have never been the angry leftist that I was 2 years ago. And of course, I'm grateful for where I am right now, but it could have all been avoided with just proper education. And that's something that our children in today's day and age are being stripped of within their schools. They're pushing gender theory in schools. They're pushing this anti-American history in schools. They're pushing critical race theory in schools. And PrEP is just a resource to take a little bit of that back, because I don't think people realize how truly leftist indoctrination has infiltrated our schools.
Yeah. Our point is not to turn these kids into the other side of tug of war, right? The point is not to make content that's going to make them right-wingers, or whatever it is. But our point is just to teach them American history and world history, the things that you should know so that you can have a better holistic approach of life and what is happening around the world and what has happened here and why America is great and what are the challenges that you might face in life. And so I think this is what education is supposed to be in America. But sadly, we're losing that. So much of education in America now is pretty much left-wing indoctrination.
Well, it turns out that when you actually learn the truth, you usually become a conservative.
This is true. This is true.
That's how it was for me. I was
me
taught
too.
lies for so long, and then you just get the truth, and it's like, oh, that's common sense. I am a conservative.
Yeah,
That's what history really is.
I wasn't born political. I mean, most of my life I said I don't want to be a political person because I just want to be somewhere in the middle, or I just not that political. But the truth is now it's not about politics. It's about ideas and ideology and making decisions about what are better ways of life. And it's so much more than politics. It's personal responsibility, personal accountability,
Morality,
financial
all of it.
literacy, morality, happiness, all those things. And so, the hopes is that we can take that big tall order that sadly our education system is failing at.
Yeah. Well, luckily we have prep, and I think that next we should make something that we can institute into the U.S. Army, because they seem to be falling behind the same way that our leftist education system is. We have this video, which is it's basically a Russian army ad, what they play to get people pumped up to join Russia, the motherland, versus America.
Here we go.
Твоей новой жизни. Что ты знаешь о себе? На что ты способен? Вопросы могут остаться без ответов, но разве ты смог знать себя? Познать границы своих возможностей? К черту границы, а без боя нет победы. Но на самом деле, главный враг — это задача выследить врага, догнать его, превзойти, стать лучше, чем он.
It begins in California with a little girl raised by two moms. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. To marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
Твоей новой жизни.
Who would you rather have protect you?
Honestly, this is pretty scary.
It's very scary.
It's really scary.
And 7 out of 10 young people in America wouldn't qualify for military service.
That's awful.
I know.
If Russia could plan a way to weaken us, this is what they would do. They would actually make both ads. Maybe the Russians made this U.S. ad.
There was like that video in the 1980s. Taylor, you see this video? They used it in like the new Call of Duty in the trailer, where it was like that Russian guy talking about how they infiltrate America with these ideas and soften our country and turn us into these like incredibly weak people. And this was in Call of Duty, so maybe it's not the most.
I mean,
whatever thing,
it's
but
been
like,
spoken about and predicted time and time again that this is the way that the U.S. becomes weak, and it's by idolizing things like sexuality and gender and race rather than things like masculinity, femininity, national pride, and that's where we're at right now as a nation.
This happens with all great nations. I mean, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, they get so much surplus, so many amazing things that they get. It's like a Sodom and Gomorrah, basically, where they have so much wealth and so much promiscuity, all of that they eventually implode and destroy themselves.
Well, they just unleash this cancer in our society, which is growing and growing and growing. And there's the whole concept of toxic masculinity, where you want to feminize men. And so, of course, they're going to go into the military and be weak. And while Russia is building clearly a military of strong men. Not a good sign.
Yeah.
Not a good sign for America.
No, it's our enemies are focusing on what matters. When you hear about the news coming out of Russia and China, they're very much focused on masculinity, raising men to be strong protectors who protect their nation. And we're not doing the same thing in America. We are both feminizing men and masculizing women. And now we're living in a society where men are encouraged to be subpar and substandard men, and women are also encouraged to be substandard men. And it's just a sad state of affairs.
I was like, I could care less if your moms are lesbian.
Yeah,
and
how is that even relevant to the army? Wow, a wedding? What does a wedding have anything to do with the military recruitment?
It has nothing to do with it. They're trying to virtue signal and make it seem like they care about gay and lesbian people so much. It's like, I don't care if you care about gay people. I want you to shoot the enemies.
Just go and protect me.
Right.
That's it. Go and protect my kids.
Like, none of that other stuff matters. I don't know who they're trying to appeal to, but it's not appealing to like normal, hardworking Americans. Like normal people see this kind of stuff and they're disgusted by it. Not because it's a gay thing, but because it's a thing. It's like, you're supposed to be defending us, and this is what you care about. This is where your priorities are.
And the same thing is happening in our other federal institutions. The CIA has put out 2 ads now for CIA agents, one of which puts pride behind being a Latina raised in America and becoming a CIA agent. The other one puts pride in being gay and becoming a CIA agent. We as Americans, foundationally, we don't care about that. We care that you love America. We care that you want to protect this country, and we care that you want to serve this country. Your identity is so far removed from those traditional values. We don't care about that, yet we are pushing that to our citizens.
That ad where she said that she doesn't fit into any box, while she literally went step by step to identify which different boxes she fits in.
She literally checked off all the different boxes.
I'm not in any box except for this box, this box, this box, this box.
No, have you heard of affirmative action?
Great. Yeah, it really
works.
makes us look real strong.
I know.
But I agree. Who are they trying to appeal to? What is the point? What is the point? Are they trying to get the woke followers to then join the military? I
don't think they want people to think badly about the military. I think it was what you hit on, like masculinity is bad these days. Right. That if you have masculine men, that's somehow toxic and that's somehow bad for society, and women and all this can do exactly what men can do, and they're trying to tear down what it means to be a man. They don't want to have that anymore in America. So they make ads like this.
I mean, it's ironic because one of the scariest things you and I have been talking about when it comes to toxic masculinity is what's going to happen with the men in service that we need to have that, warrior, protector, I'm going to take care of all of you, the bravery. And so what happens to those guys who we want to have join our military and law enforcement and essentially stand up and protect us? What's going to happen with them? And so ironically, what's going to happen with them in this particular ad where it's like, you're just going to lose you're just going to lose the base that you actually need to recruit.
I mean, and look at the just scientifically, the testosterone levels of men in America have been dropping significantly over the past few decades. And it really begs the question with everything that's happening in our CIA and with the Army, why are we catering to people who dislike our country? The people on the left who are pushing these identity politics, pushing critical race theory, this gender theory that we should be looking at each other based on identity, fundamentally have a hate for our country, think that our country is based in white supremacy and is not serving them by any means. So why are the institutions, our military, our CIA, which are supposed to be serving our people, catering to those who have a dislike for America? Makes no sense to me.
What do you think, Will? Why are they doing that? I mean, it just makes no sense.
I have a theory. This is somewhat related, but I think that even the feminists like strong men. It's obvious. Feminist women will say they like these weak men, these beta males, but in reality, they're fantasizing about strong men. I think that's definitely the case, which I think is funny because people, they want to show that they have all these wokeness and show that they really care about all these different people or that they like weak men. In reality, they like strong men. They want someone to protect them. They want people who are strong protecting this country. And that when push comes to shove and things start getting worse and worse and we see other enemies across the world trying to attack us and we don't have those strong men, they're going to come around and I think they'll be realizing their faults way too late.
Well, we hope it's not going to be when it's too late. That's why we're here.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, PragerU is breeding an army of strong men.
Well,
that's what we're doing.
Exactly. If you're watching right now and you're a man, be strong.
Yes, go do some push-ups.
Lift some weights.
Yeah, I could actually use that too.
Eat some steak.
Yeah, exactly. Red meat. One more story for today, guys, which I think we're going to end it on a high note. Just kidding. This is also really sad.
Yeah, more depressing.
Even worse, honestly.
This might be the worst story of the day.
Here's some bad news for you, and more bad news for you on the Will Show.
But we do that so that people will know how impactful PragerU is.
Yes, it's a call to action.
Okay, if all this stuff is happening in the world right now, we have PragerU to be the opposite of that.
Well, I think it's also not all bad news. I think half of this country shares our values. We just need to get organized and we need to get behind sharing the good values. And so,
I
we're going
think
to come together. We're showing up. It's growing.
I think 80% of our country shares our values.
Yeah.
And the 30%, that's like the half of
they're afraid.
That 50, they're either afraid or they don't know that they are actually conservative or share these values.
Yeah, they've been so brainwashed by the academia and all that that they just don't know where they stand. They call themselves politically homeless, but truly they just don't know. They've been painted this picture that we're some evil white supremacist Nazis or whatever, and so they're afraid to touch us.
Right.
But once they get to know us, I think they'll move over.
Yeah, they think they're on the left, but they actually, that was like me, going through high school and college. My mom taught me all these common sense values that I thought I was on the left or a liberal, and then I realized, that's pretty dumb. I'm actually a conservative.
Yeah, when I was in college, I thought it was on the left. And then I was like, wait, I'm on the left, but I actually don't agree with anything on the left. So maybe I'm not on the left, but how could I possibly be on the right? I'm not,
I'm not
xenophobic. I'm not I'm like a woman. I can't be on the left. Right. And I was like, okay, that's it. I can't take it anymore.
I know. It all comes full circle.
It's all about the truth.
Here's some not truth.
Oh, here's no truth.
There we go.
New York City Education Department, this is from Breitbart, sponsors Drag Queen PBS series for children ages 3 to 8. Here's a picture of this beautiful man. Now, you have children, Marissa.
I do.
Would you want this guy teaching your children?
Probably not. I mean, I don't know him, but it doesn't look very good to me. I don't really understand why we need to bring any of that stuff into school. How is that benefiting children?
Yeah, what purpose does it serve?
I could see how it's benefiting the person because he probably enjoys it and working with kids is so meaningful and fun and he probably wants to share, his ideas. But we got to put the kids first. How is that helping any kid?
It doesn't help a kid. If I saw that, if I was a little boy again, and I saw this being like this was someone was teaching me this, I'd be very confused. I'd be like, why are you here?
Well, the problem
what happened to
is,
my teacher?
Well, the problem is, if you were a kid and you said anything negative about this person, you would be sent to the principal's office and you would be punished in a massive way.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't get away with saying anything bad about this. No,
nothing.
Especially in New York City.
You have to treat it as if it's completely normal.
The person said, I am a drag queen and a children's book author, and you may be wondering to yourself, what on earth is a drag queen? As Little Miss Hot Mess is his name. That's a perfect name. Everyday people who like to play pretend and dress up as often as we can. They are leaders in our community, and if you ask me, we make pretty good role models. I would tend to disagree.
Well, I'm not sure how even calling yourself a hot mess is a good role model.
Right. That's a bad role model.
Let's just start with that.
That's kind of like the culture of like, oh, I'm a mess, but I'm handling everything
because
together.
it's actually perfect because it's a perfect explanation of what the left wants. They want a hot mess. They want complete chaos. They want our streets to be a hot mess. I mean, look at all the homeless stuff that's going on. They want a hot mess because the left, they thrive over mess. When there is mess, the left thrives. And so you want to bring that into the schools, the hot mess.
The right wants order and the left wants chaos. They thrive off of the chaos. This is like Dennis Prager talking about Genesis 1:1 and, you know, when God created heavens and the earth, he created order in the world versus the left wants to destroy God because they want chaos in the world. Right. And this is like the same thing. It's like so unnecessary. Who wants this? I don't know who's asking for this. I doubt that there is one kid in any school who has ever asked for a man dressed in makeup to come and teach them a book.
And for the record, I don't care what this man does at home or a woman or however they want to identify themselves at home. They can do whatever they want. But to push this on children, confuse them, and then punish them when they express confusion, that is wrong.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff, going on in the schools. We had that one kid, he was 10 years old just the other day who spoke out. I don't know if you saw this viral video, but he spoke out about like, I don't want masks anymore. The teachers, they pull down their mask to yell at me to put mine on. And then they don't listen to the kid and they keep the mask on for the school year for this kid.
It's ironic because on the one hand, these teachers are like, oh, we need to listen to the kids, child-centered learning, teach them only what they want to learn, all of that stuff. And then on the other hand, the kid is like suffocating with the mask on and they don't listen to him.
Well, they want all that child stuff. They want the children to vote. They want people under 16 to be able to vote only if they support the left.
Right.
And
listen to the kids.
As soon as they become conservative or have different ideas, then they want to shut him down and say, oh, that's just a stupid kid. We don't need to listen to him.
Right. Yeah.
But if they agree with your values, then you're totally on board.
And people don't recognize why this particular story is problematic. And it's because kids, especially of the age of what you said, 3 to 8 years old, are particularly malleable, especially when it comes to issues like gender and identity. And we have a whole slew of parents who are now pushing this ideology that kids can somehow choose who they are. Kids will sit you down as a parent and tell you who they are, and you are supposed to mend yourself to that. And that's not the case by any means. And this may be a drag queen and not technically a transgender person, but it brings up that conversation of choosing your gender identity, whether or not you're gender fluid, whether you're a girl who identifies as a boy or a boy who identifies as a girl. And those conversations are going to be sprung from this sort of activity. And we all know about the suicide rates within the transgender community. We all know how it harms kids, especially mentally and physically. And to allow this to happen in your school is a disgrace, especially with networks like this pushing it to young children. It's disgusting.
Well, parents need to speak up. They can't. Everybody is relying on somebody else to speak up. A lot of people don't like it, but they're too afraid or lazy, and they're not pushing against it. And so it's just going to get worse. You see this in every single case. When things are bad and nobody stops, it doesn't get better. It actually gets worse.
Oh, it always gets worse because the left just steamrolls you. They don't care.
Yeah, like, okay, well, we got away with it. Well, same thing with big tech. First they started censoring a little bit. Now they're just completely taking out websites altogether.
They don't care at all.
All right, well, we got away with it, so let's just do more.
Yeah. No, they don't care at all. And now they're fine with being caught because they know that even if they get caught, there's no repercussions for anything they do.
Correct. Because they get away with it. Nobody does anything.
Yeah, and it's a valid fear to have as a normal person because Will and I, we get to sit here and this is our job to speak about these things and call attention to these issues. But for the average person who will most likely have their job threatened, their family threatened, it's a very hard thing to do. But you have to think about it really in the long term. Kids at this age of 3 to 8 are so malleable. You plant one seed of just a mental problem and they will grow from that and they will keep that influence for the rest of their lives. So it's worth it to speak out and say something about this.
Well, we teach kids all the time to speak out against bullies, right? Yeah. And so if you're with your child or you're an educator and you're saying to this kid, Don't allow people to bully you. And then you're getting bullied and you're doing nothing as an adult.
Right.
What kind of lesson are you actually teaching these kids? You want to teach the most important lesson to a child? Teach them by doing yourself and showing them that you're not going to get bullied. You're not going to get rolled over, because that's possibly the most important lesson they'll ever learn.
That's how you teach anyone anything. It's like, even if like myself or you or Amla, excuse me, had some bangers and mash before this. We went to got British food for Mike for his, Mike, he's leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went and got British food with him.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Not food from Scotland or something?
No, well, they didn't really have Scottish food. I guess it's kind of the same.
It is?
I don't know.
I think the viewers will disagree with
I
you.
don't know.
Now you're going to get a lot of hate for this. You're going to
I
get
got
more
some
hate. You're going to
bangers
get
and
more.
mash.
You're going to get more hate for this comment than the little Israel video you
I know,
you made.
exactly.
Scotland
No,
and the
people hate
UK,
this
same.
stuff.
No way.
I know. Wait, what was I
British.
talking about before? I lost my train of thought now.
Being role models for
yes,
kids.
yes. So like all the
setting an
stuff that
example.
all the stuff that we do, it's like we talk about a lot of different political topics on the show and on our Instagrams and on social media and everything we do and on TV, whatever it is. But it's like the way that we continually rise up to the occasion and stand up strong for what we believe in. They're not always going to remember all of the political facts and or cultural talking points of everything that we said, but they see us continually standing up against evil, which in my opinion, something like this is evil. These are evil things. There are a lot of evil people out there. That is what inspires a lot of people, is that they can see that there are people who are actually standing up time and time again, and they want to emulate that. It's like the same thing with the children, the parents doing the same thing, that if you want to be a good parent to your kid, you do what you want them to do. Then they will follow you. They'll think that you're a leader. It's the same being in whatever you do, and you want people to follow you.
I mean, it's never easy to be brave, but we're in a war of ideas. And so people
Right.
need to fight the war the way it's fought today. And the way it's fought today is being brave with your action, speaking out, fighting in the whatever way you can, and certainly protecting kids.
Well, this man, I think he wrote his book is called "The Hips on the Drag Queen Go Swish Swish Swish," into the tunes of "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round."
Oh, Lord.
It's just such a bizarre focus. It's there's such a focus on this thing right now.
I know.
Why? Why can't you focus? I mean, our kids know so little about American history. They basically do not know civics whatsoever. I mean, do we not have enough not enough to teach them, that we need to teach them, things that are so fringe? I mean, it should not be such a big component of kids' education.
And
Of course not.
It's because they don't trust American institutions. They don't trust our founding, and they do think it's inherently racist or
When they
inherently
don't trust
sexist.
it, they resent it.
Exactly. So if you resent the very institutions of which you're meant to uphold as a public education teacher, of course you're going to do things like Drag Queen Storytime or Critical Race Theory Thursdays or something like that. It's all an effort to bring down the systems of which we have created in this country.
Meanwhile, kids can't write, can't read,
Right.
can't do math, shouldn't do math.
Well, math is racist now,
Math is
so
racist,
we
so
don't do
instead,
math.
Let's just read fluff.
Yeah.
Right.
And China and Russia are building huge armies full of strong men,
Yep.
Right.
and we have Drag Queen
Fluff.
Story Hour. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yep,
These
we
other
have-
countries are laughing at us.
Yeah.
at
I
what
mean,
we're
if
doing.
they're not laughing at us, they're blind.
I know. I think they are.
Yeah.
These
it's sad.
These
Yeah.
other countries are doing exactly what we should be doing, and that is building strong families with very strong women, very strong men, and then they are teaching their children and the people within their nation how to support their country and how to uphold its history and its tradition. And that's exactly what we're moving away from in America, and it's sad.
I mean, the fact that patriotism is a pejorative is disgusting. It's disgusting that people can't just stand up in class and say, I love the United States of America. I'm proud to be an American.
Right? Oh, but now that's a symptom of white supremacy.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I don't like it, Marissa.
I don't like it. I don't like
don't
it,
like
but
it at
at
all.
least you're doing something about it.
Thank you. I
You're
think
brave.
you are too. You're very brave. You're brave to come in here in the gauntlet and get interviewed by me.
I'm very brave. So brave.
Yeah.
Brave thing I've done.
Marissa, thank you for all the hard work you do at PragerU. You guys can follow her on Instagram at the Marissa Streit, right?
Really?
That's
You're
it?
sending them to my... Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's your... Do
This
you
is
want
only
out
for
with
the
them?
diehards. Yes.
Okay.
If you're a diehard, come over.
Do you want to
What?
do Q&A?
Oh,
we can take
Q&A?
some questions
Okay.
from
Oh,
the
sure. Do you
audience
wanna
if you
do
want
some
to.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Marissa.
You can ask me really anything. How much I weigh, how old I am.
Okay, I
anything.
got-
I'm very transparent.
Don't ask me how much I weigh. I won't answer that.
Really? How much do you weigh?
155.
So he did answer it. He's like, I'm not going to
Yeah, I was
answer
like making
that.
a joke, and then I was like, well,
No, he
If your
really
CEO asks you how much you weigh,
he
you-
wanted people to know. Is that like a good weight for you?
I've been the same weight since like I was a senior in high school.
Oh.
and it used to be more in my muscles, and now it's just gone straight to my belly. So it's like 50 pounds of that is just in my belly.
All right, stop with the Chipotle and the Cheetos.
I know.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, Will.
Yeah,
So I did want to put, it'll happen to me too.
Amala's keeping us focused.
Okay, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Yes,
Sorry.
I do. I want to let you know that Katie Jo Berry says, I'm homeschooling my kids and will use prep on our social studies until next year. Thank you for doing this, Marissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here exactly for you. That's what we're here for.
Yes,
People
we are.
like you.
Thank you.
And then we have a question here from Nora E. How can we protect our kids from this evilness?
So I've been thinking about this a lot because that's what we want to do. We want to protect our children. For a long time, parents would drop off their kids at school. And I totally understand that because I work a lot. I work a ton amount of hours. And so we drop off our kids at school and we pick them up in the afternoon. We feed them, we bathe them. Sometimes we'll take them to soccer or something. But mostly we don't sit down with them and talk to them on a regular basis about ideas, values, what we believe in. And so before you know it, they grow up and they go to college and they're not ready. And so the most important thing you can do is to not rely on whatever school it is, even if it's a great school. You can't rely on the schools to teach your kids how to deal with the world. You want to make great humans, you need to sit down with the kids, and you can't just be a parent that feeds them. You also need to educate them. And we understand how hard that is, which is why we're trying to make content that makes it really easy for parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts and cousins to be that person in their life that's going to inoculate them and teach them and help them grow intellectually. So you can go to prep.com, you can go to PragerU/prep, or was it PragerU.com/prep, and take these pieces of content, 5 minutes a day, spend some time with these kids and inoculate them, prepare them, and you'll send in notes, let us know if we can be more helpful. But that's what we're here for, to help you educate and arm these kids.
I'll be quick. Just dinner table conversations. Yep. That is so important. If you're a parent, you should be eating dinner with your kids and you should talk to them about the news of the day, the issues of the day. You don't have to go into everything crazy, into super detail, but a lot of these news stories and things, you can talk their ears off about everything happening in the news, but you teach them values through the things that are happening in the world. And that makes it so that when they go out into the world and they see things happening, they know how to think, not just what to think about one certain issue. So teach your kids how to think, teach them the good values, and talk about the things going on at the dinner table.
Yeah, that's actually such a good point.
Their phone.
It's actually such a good point. So for me, for those of you who know me, you know I was raised by a mom who's a leftist and an atheist. And the one major influence that I have that sort of pushed me to where I am now was my grandparents. And while my mom was at work every day, my grandparents made sure that we came over every single night and we sat down at the dinner table and we had dinner together. And I got so much of my influence of how to be a woman, how to, take on certain situations, how to really have an intellect from them. And I'm sitting down at the dinner table and having food with them. And that's something that I think a majority of American families are not doing anymore. And it's a sad reality.
Even if you can do it once a week, you can start small. And so habits can start small. We do it every Friday night. We just sit down with the whole family and we have conversations. And when they're little and they don't have the patience to sit with you and have these longer conversations, my kids are very focused on the tablet. For them, that's a reward. Mm-hmm. But if you can reward them with watching things that are actually healthy for their brain, like prep, for example, that's a great way to get both reward them and have them enjoy watching something and also educate them at the same time.
Yeah, even if your mom is a bad cook, you can still do it. My mom wasn't the greatest cook. She got better with age, but we still did the conversations and it was good.
Eventually you cooked.
Yeah, no, now I'm a better cook than my mom.
Yeah, you should thank her for it.
No, I think that's the opposite.
Maybe because she was a bad cook, you felt like you had to...
I had to cook for myself because she was not very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See?
Yeah, I used to...
Turn lemon into lemonade.
I used to throw her food away and then she'd find it in the trash and make me eat it again.
Oh my God.
So
hard times breed strong men.
You see, this is what you call masculinity.
Right here, eating pizza out of the garbage with coffee grounds on it. That's what being a man is all
Will
about.
is the pinnacle of male masculinity.
We have any more questions? Maybe do one more?
Do you have one more, Taylor, for us? Okay, let's pull it up here. Jared says, what do you think of charter schools versus public schools?
I think charter schools are great. I mean, there's a reason why I understand it's a complicated issue, the public schools and the funding, but the more charter schools, the better. School choice, I think, is the best way. I mean, people know what's best for their kids, and they'll put their kids in the best school possible if they could. And that's basically what charter schools afford people to do, where with public schools, you have less choice. And so whatever teacher you have, whether it's a good teacher or a bad teacher, you're stuck. The more choice we give parents, the more competition there'll be, and the better teachers will end up having. So school choice, I think, is the way to go.
Oh,
I mean,
I
look
agree.
at look at Dr. Jeff Barkey's school that he opened up.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing, and they were only allowed to have I think it was it wasn't a very large amount of students, and they have 600 students on their waiting list.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids know that or the parents know that when you have something good and you have the choice to do it, they're always going to do it.
Of
especially
course.
when you're thinking about your kids.
Well, he went through hell trying to open that
yeah,
school. I mean,
horrible.
it's just so hard to even get the licensing for it because the public schools and the unions fought him tooth and nail.
Oh, I know.
Really?
He's trying to open more of them.
Well, he wants
open more
to, but
locations.
it's made so difficult.
I know.
And it's not even really a matter of opinion as to whether or not charter schools are better than public schools. For those of you who are big readers out there, I would recommend Thomas Sowell, Charter Schools and Their Enemies, and he talks about the true difference in the level of education that you get from a charter school versus a public school. They had children from a public school and a charter school, educated virtually the same amount of time, take the same test in the same building, in the same setting, everything a controlled environment, and the charter school kids do much better. So it's a great option for education if you can do that for your kids.
For families that have low income and can't afford a private school, charter schools is really the only way to go if they can get in.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, they'll have to go to whatever local public schools otherwise, and then it's just luck.
Yeah.
I mean, some public schools are okay, but you might get lucky, you might not get lucky. Generally, charter schools are much better.
Yeah, my public school sucked.
Yeah.
But, I made it through.
Yeah.
It's not public school is going to completely destroy you. You can go to public
No.
school and be completely fine.
Yeah.
But when you have the option, at least, to say, okay, I can either go to public school or a private school or a charter school, whatever it might be, we should all be able to have the option to choose for our kids
Right.
and say, we want them to go to this school that I think will be the best for them.
Yeah, more choice, right?
More
What
freedom.
happened to choice? No choice. No choice when it comes to children.
My school,
right?
my choice.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
It's really
They
crazy.
all want choice, except for when it comes to children's choice of what school to go to.
Exactly. I know. Well, I think that's about it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed Marissa. We'll have her back, and maybe in a couple years if she's feeling up
I'm
for
not
it
too
again.
busy.
Yeah, not too busy. We really enjoyed having her on. Thanks, guys, for watching. Remember, go to PragerU.com to check out all of our different videos. All of our live streams that we do are at 2:30 p.m. PST. That's 5:30 p.m. Eastern every single day except for the weekends. So make sure you can go back, watch any of the other episodes where Amala and I tackle all of the stuff happening every single day, cultural, political, whatever it is. Follow us on social media at the Will Witt, at the Amala Epinobi, and the Marissa Streit now.
Yeah, and join us on prep. Parents,
Yes.
if you're parents, we need you.
Yes,
Power
join
in
us
numbers.
on prep.
Join
Please.
us.
Which is PragerU.com/prep. You can get us there, and Taylor is dropping all of the links for that in the description. And we will see you guys on Monday. Amala and I are going to a pro-Israel rally this weekend.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Sunday.
So hopefully I don't get hit with a
Be
brick in the
safe.
head.
Please be
Yes.
safe.
Yeah.
Be safe. That's
Yeah.
the key there.
Luckily, I'm not Jewish. Or maybe not luckily. I don't know. But I'm not Jewish. So maybe they won't target me as hard.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.
Bye.